going? Alrighty. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And today, I bring you episode 6 of Arcane. And this was a very impactful episode. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of good stuff, a lot of bad stuff. But it was a very good episode. So let's just get right into it because we really got a lot to talk about in this one. Alright, so our episode begins. It's a little bit of backstory on Victor, you know? Because that's what I've been curious about personally. Trying to figure out what's been going on with Victor. We find out he's been a loner even as a kid. Which is sad, man, because Victor's a great guy. Brilliant mind. But he's just all alone all the time. He's just... And you can tell. You can tell it makes him sad, but he keeps working. And he's brilliant even as a kid. We can see that. But he's always been a loner. And we find out that he meets another fellow scientist down in the caves in the Undercity, apparently. And shockingly, if you pay attention to the show, you realize the scientist is the guy that's been working with Silco. So you see that and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Victor knows him? Yeah, so we find out that he's met him before. And he's kind of like a colleague in a way. Which is very interesting if you think about it. A lot of these characters seem to all know each other one way or another. But, yeah, it was a crazy thing to find out in the beginning of the episode. It's like, uh-oh, where's this going? And you find out later. But we'll get to that later. Alright, where do we transition next? Yes! Alrighty. Yes, we find out, we flash forward back to the present, to him talking with Heimendinger. Because you see, Victor's worried that when he's gone, his legacy's not going to be remembered. That he's just going to be forgotten to history. And that's honestly something that I feel like a lot of people feel. I personally feel that way. The thought of when you die that you just get forgotten and people don't remember you, that's a scary thought. Especially when you're someone who's as hardworking and such a visionary as Victor. It must terrify him. So he's confiding with Heimendinger about it. And I gotta say, man, Heimendinger gives like the worst responses ever. He's lived a long time, so he's probably talked to many people about this, but it's not like reassuring at all. Because it's easy for him to say. He lives hundreds of years. Victor doesn't have that luxury. So it's kind of rude if you think about it, how Heimendinger talks to him. He doesn't intend it that way, of course, but from Victor's perspective, it's kind of like a slap in the face in a way. He's like, cheer up, old boy. The brightest lights usually burn out the fastest. And that's his experiment. And he figures out that it's working now. And he's like, why is it working all of a sudden? What made it start working? And then he pieces it together. When he sees his blood still on the table, he pieces it together that it needs organic matter. So now he's tinkering with it, and he's come with a breakthrough. Here we go. He realizes that his blood was the catalyst to get it going. And like I just said, he has a breakthrough. He starts tinkering with it. And he's got a lot of ideas. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Yes. Now we transition to Vi and Caitlin being chased down by Silco and his men. And it's a very tense situation, honestly. Vi obviously can't get away that easily. She has got holes in her chest from her stomach from the previous episode. She's barely getting along, but they're escaping for now. Alright, where do we see from here? Silco's men and that Jinx is extremely curious about everything. Because Silco has made a huge deal about this person, finding these people all of a sudden, but he didn't tell her about it. So of course she's gonna be curious, like, what's going on? Why has no one invited me to this? So of course she's asking a bunch of questions, and she eventually traps Savinka in Silco's office, and she's had enough. She's just like, all right, you're gonna tell me what's going on here, one way or another. And Savinka's just more than happy to do so, telling her flat out, yeah, it's your sister. We're gonna go get her and take her in, and you're gonna implode from it. And Jinx couldn't believe it. She just can't believe that because she thinks her sister's gone, obviously. But she finds out and she is just freaking out the whole time. So she decides to play a little prank on Savinka. And by prank, I mean she kills her. She just flat out kills her and hangs her up from the rafters, which is pretty extreme. But I gotta say, she's a good artist. Yeah, very intense scene, if I must say. Yeah, and I gotta say, they did a good job of it. They know that the audience wants to see the sisters reunited, so they're really building it up, you know? But yeah, Jinx can't believe it, so she goes out to look for her to see if it's true or not. But that's later. Now we transition to Marcus in his house, and this scene is tense, guys. This scene's really tense. We transition to Marcus in his house, and he goes to check on his daughter. You know, no big deal. He is a father after all. But to his horror, he sees Silco in his house, in his daughter's room, no less, playing with her. And you can just feel the tension in the air. Like, he is furious. And he makes a not very subtle threat to Marcus, like, hey, you get rid of this girl. You were supposed to do this years ago, but you never did. What the hell is that about? What's going on? And he makes a threat to him. Like I just said, not very subtly, like, deal with this. Mistakes are fine as long as they don't repeat themselves. And he flat out said in that scene, hey, I'm going to kill your daughter if you don't get rid of Vi. So Marcus is terrified. So of course he naturally is like, okay, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. I promise I will. And everything's just falling into place for Silco right now. Besides finding Vi, of course. But everything's going pretty smoothly, you know? You can tell he's definitely like the king of the underground right now. He's got the muscle, the money, and the influence over people. So Marcus is terrified. So, and of course he just falls and does his bidding right away. Which is a shame, but what can you really do when they have your daughter, you know? I think most of us in that situation would have to bend the knee as well. But alright. Yes. Now we transition to a very important scene in the episode. We transition to Viktor showing Jayce his new experiment after he figures it out. And the wonders that it can make. It can make life out of nothing. It can create life, save lives, rejuvenate the world if you really think about it. But at a very big cost. The life it creates cannot sustain itself for a long time. And it kind of dies immediately after. And you see, Jayce saw this and was extremely hopeful, thinking to himself, like, man, we could use this technology not just to save other people, but we could save you with it. So naturally, when he figures this out, he's heartbroken, you know? It makes him sad that it's not working, and he vows to help Viktor no matter what to get this working in the hopes that it can save his life. So he says he'll go get Heimendinger to review it to see if he can help. And he does that, and to his surprise, Heimendinger is horrified at what he sees. All he sees is the destruction and the cataclysmic, just awful things that can happen with this device. And he wants them to destroy it right away. And Jayce obviously doesn't want to do that because this is one of their only ways to save Victor, who's like a brother to him. He's literally saved his life. He wants nothing more than to try to save Victor's life now. And Heimendinger just won't have it. He's like, the dangers of this device is ridiculous. This is not what this city will be built on. And they get into a real argument. Like a real argument. Which leads Jayce to address the council. Him and Heimendinger go and address the council. And he warns them all that they're going down the wrong path, that their greed and that their influence or greed of power, I guess you could say, their lust for power, be a better word, has deluded them and deluded the dream of the city they once shared together. Now their house is divided. Kind of like some Game of Thrones kind of stuff. And he urges them to destroy this device and to go back to how things were. But Jayce has a pretty good rebuttal. He questions Heimendinger on that. He says, alright, you want things to go back to how they were, but look at all the people suffering in the Undercity. Look at all the drugs and corruption and poverty that has stricken the city, the Undercity, and how nothing has changed since you've been here. You claim for peace, and you claim and tell people of what they shouldn't do, but what has he himself done to fix anything? And that's a very valid, very valid opinion, honestly. Very valid statement if you really think about it. He's been there for hundreds and hundreds of years, yet nothing's changed. Nothing's really progressed, gotten better. The people are still suffering. And Jayce begrudgingly urges the council that it's time for Heimendinger to retire. And you can see around the room that no one wants to do it. He is the founding father of this city, after all. The city would not be here without him. But they all reluctantly agree to it, to Heimendinger's sadness and shock, of course. He's being thrown out by the people that he basically helped bring together. The people that helped him create this city that he loves so much. He's being thrown out by them. So of course he's going to take it personally. And of course it's not something Jayce wants to do, but Heimendinger is in the way of him potentially saving Victor's life. He's not thinking clearly right now. He's thinking irrationally. But that's what fear does to us. It clouds our judgment, makes us do things that we wouldn't normally do. And it's a very sad scene, honestly. It really gets to you. It does. It's very sad. Yes, he wants to figure out and hopes to save Victor's life. It's quite a sad scene, honestly. I crossed out this entire part. Give me a sec, guys. My notes, my handy dandy notebook. As you can see, lots of scratches in this one. Yes, we talked about Jayce. Yes. Now we transition back to Caitlin and Vi, who actually run in to one of Vander's old friends that finds a way to give her some medicine. Or tells her of a way to go get some medicine for Vi to fix her up. As I said, she's got like 4 holes in her stomach. She ain't getting anywhere anytime soon. She's down for the count. So this guy takes her to this apparently medical lady. They say lady. It's a very handsome lady. Let's just say that. But yeah, they get the medicine from her at the cost of Caitlin's gun. Which, honestly, thinking about it, there had to have been other stuff she could have given up. Besides her only weapon down there, if you think about it. That seems a little silly to me. Like, yeah, I'm in this strange place where I can barely see, like, 5 feet in front of me. All the people around me are shady. Let me give up my only means of protection. like what? You don't have, like, an emblem or something on you could give instead? Or, like, a badge or something? But no, she gives up the gun. And we learn later on that was not a good decision. But for now, she gets the medicine. She brings it to Vi. And Vi's, it apparently works. It jump starts her. It heals her. It apparently heals her wounds because this person put a little bit of shimmer in it. So apparently, shimmer can be used medicinally too, for medicine and all that. It can apparently heal wounds, and apparently in small dosages, it does not mutate you. So that's honestly very interesting to think about because it definitely looked like shimmer they put in it. So that's a little food for thought, honestly. That might come up later, but yeah, for now it gets her going, it gets her moving again, and they're still on the run. Unfortunately, in this scene though, we see that Silco found them. How did he find them? The little rat from before that took Caitlin to the medicine, sold her out, just so he could get a little taste of it. This guy, man. And here we all thought, oh, he's doing something good. But you could tell, as Caitlin was getting the medicine, that little side look he gave it, you could tell he was going to do something bad. And unfortunately he does. He sells them out. So Silco finds them. And he's ready to finish the job. He's over it. He's like, I'm going to finally kill you, Vander's prodigy. You know, he's wanted nothing more than her out the picture for years. So this is his golden moment. And he probably would have done it too, if not for the quick thinking of Caitlin and Vi, who quite literally bring the house down on them all and escape. But it's here that we transition to Jinx up top. And we see that she held on to that flare from years ago that Vi gave her. And she remembers to herself that, hey, light this wherever you are, and I will come find you. So she lights it. And as they're escaping, Vi instantly sees it. So that leads us to one of our most emotional scenes in the episode, their reunion. And it's like I just said, it's pretty emotional, guys. We built up to it for 3 whole episodes, you know? And it does not disappoint. Everything's going smoothly too. Like they're embracing, they're talking with each other, they're fucking remembering stuff. But everything starts going not so smooth when Caitlin joins up and she's like, "Wait, your sister's Jinx?" in her British voice. She's like, and Vi's just like, wait a minute, we can work something out here. And Jinx just won't have it. Now she is freaking out, thinking that Vi's betrayed her and all that. Which, to be fair, is kind of valid, you know? She's with an enforcer, someone who's always been seen in a negative way by Jinx. So that's a natural conclusion. She hasn't seen her in like 7 years. She comes out of nowhere all of a sudden, and she's got an enforcer with her. It's a natural conclusion to think, oh, you betrayed me. You're giving me up. Which, of course, we all know isn't true, but it's what happens. But in that scene, it gets interrupted because the Firelights have found them, and they go and attack them. They apparently want that crystal, and it's a pretty fierce fight. Vi and Jinx are definitely holding their own in it, for sure. Definitely holding their own. But they lose the crystal. Jinx drops it. Caitlin gets it, but doesn't keep it. Because, of course, she got rid of that gun from earlier. She should have kept it. She gets knocked out, they get the crystal. And just as they're fighting, Vi is just like terrified of what she's seeing. She's seeing the sister she grew up with just brutally taking these people out. And she just can't believe it. Because to her, she still sees that little girl from years ago. The one that would always cling to her and be scared. But no, she's turned into a freaking full-blown woman now. And she is brutal. She's damaged. She's messed up. She's haunted by the past. and she just can't believe what she's seeing. She's scared seeing it, honestly. Someone she cares about in so much pain and just so brutal, and just how she's changed over the years. And because of that, she's distracted, and then she gets knocked out. So now the Firelights kidnap her, and our episode ends with the crystal being taken, the Firelights taking Vi, and then Jinx being all alone. Like, it was a crazy episode, honestly, in hindsight. A lot happened. We got a lot of revelations. We got a lot of good, like I said, a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, a lot of sad things. Not too many happy things, but I assume that will be later on. But yes, did I miss anything? I might have missed a few things. I did actually, now that I remember. I did miss this one part. Let me see this first. Let me make sure. Yes, here we go. I did forget to mention that Victor has another flashback of when he was a kid. We have another flashback of Victor when he was a kid. And he goes and visits the one scientist down in the cave that he met previously. And he sees his true colors. The true, not necessarily evilness of his research, but just the twisted nature of it, the morbidness of it, the lack of morality. Like, what he's doing is not humane, to say the least. Not very humane. Quite morbid. And Victor is just, he's shocked by it. He can't take it. But we go back to present day, and Victor seeks him out again. And he finds him with his experiment, and he tells him he finally understands what it means to be a scientist. And it's a sad scene. I can only imagine the repercussions of this scene. Like, Victor's gonna do something drastic, I think, and I really don't want that, man. Victor and Jayce are literally some of the only good people in this series, like legitimately good people. So to see him go down this kind of path is really quite sad. Hopefully he can come back in the future, but where it's going right now, it's just, I see dark things coming. And for better or worse, yeah, people have to deal with it. But yeah, guys, it was a very impactful episode. A lot happened. A lot of revelations. A lot of reunions, actually, funny enough. Some good, some bad. And I say this every episode, but I'm very curious to see where we're going to go from here. Because this episode kind of peaked a little bit. So I can imagine our next couple episodes are going to be pretty sad, pretty heavy, honestly. Some tough decisions are going to be made. But yeah, guys, I'm very curious to know how you all felt about this episode. Let me know down in the comments. If you liked the episode, and you liked my review, of course, leave a like. Show me you guys like it, you know? So I can keep creating good videos for you. Subscribe if you want to see more videos, because I'm going to keep pumping them out, guys. But hey, we get the family bigger, we can do bigger and better things. So think of it that way. I'm working on stuff, guys. I'm definitely working. What's that saying? I'm burning the candle at both ends. But we're gonna get things going pretty soon. I'm excited, so you guys definitely should get excited. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. I hope you all have a lovely, fantastic day today. And every day moving forward, honestly, you know, just be happy. That's the one thing I say. If you're happy, then you're already winning. But until next time, guys, I'll see you. Bye-bye.